moment of silence for Daddy Bugatti, Susan Roger, and Larry Healy. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
John,
Anybody wants to, sorry.
could we just have another moment, if everyone could just rise for another moment of silence for what transpired earlier today in Nashville, Tennessee? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
If anybody was a sick, pressure was attention on that, then we ought to come up. 3.02, Superintendent Spotlight on Program, Regional Spelling Bee.
I would like to introduce Jenny Sanella, who has been a fantastic addition to the Wappingers team. Ms. Sanella will discuss the phenomenal achievements of some of our young spellers. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Was that one of the words? Do they still ask that at the spelling bee?
Can you spell that, Dr. Bundle?
I cannot. Ms. Sanella?
Fantastic introduction.
Thank you.
I told the students that there might be some quizzes, so they're ready. I have the honor today of talking about the fantastic students within our district. Before I do that, I want to describe a little bit of the process that they went through, since many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with what the spelling bee has looked like in the past. So the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Wappinger Central School District has historically looked as though each building has held their own spelling bee, and we have a champion from each building. In the past, the pathway was that those champions then came to the district level, there was a district level champion, and the capital region hosted, and then they went to the national champions. Scripps changed their process this year. It seems as though some of those changes have happened since COVID to make it a little bit more digitally friendly. So this year, first, I'd like to thank our principals for arranging the first round. Each building held their individual spelling bee, and we have a champion from each building that we will introduce tonight. Those champions then had the honor to go to the Scripps Online platform and to compete in a bee there to earn the right to be a part of the regional level. We have 3 students that were awarded that honor. In competing at that level, we also have 1 student who has earned the right to go to the national level. So we are thrilled to be able to honor these fantastic students. They range from 4th grade to 7th grade. So I'm going to just jump right in so we can begin. I'll just remind the students, you can come right up these stairs. Please watch your step as you come across the wires. Our first student champion from James S. Evans is Rockwell Bozeman. Our next student champion from Myers Corners is Amelia Chows.
Nice work. Nice work.
From Myers.
Good job. Good job.
Amelia is our youngest champion in 4th grade. Our 3rd building champion from Gayhead is Ava Hamdi.
Very proud of you. Nice work.
Our 4th building champion from Wappingers Junior High School is Eleanor Hong. Our next building champion from Oak Grove is Ryan McCarthy. Following Ryan, our next building champion from Kinry Road is Jonas Morgan.
Very proud of you, Jonas. Great work, great work.
Our next building champion from Fishkill is Elijah Petit Freer.
Great work, Elijah.
Next, from Van Wyck Junior High School, we have Sarah Webb.
Congratulations. Very proud of you.
Okay, I will now announce the building champions that were advanced to the regional level. Our first regional student is Sudratul Mustafa from Sheep Road.
Congratulations. Very proud of you. Great work.
Great job.
Our next regional competitor is Ian Van Steep from Fishkill Plains.
Great job, Ian. Very proud of you. Nice work.
Good job. Congratulations and good work.
The last student that we'll call to the stage is the student who will be representing Wappinger Central School District at the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Maryland, Noah Kaplan from Brinkerhoff.
You're going to do a great job. Very proud of you. Nice work. Thank you.
Great
Thank you. Thank you for
job.
representing
I'm
us
very
so
proud
well.
of you.
Thank you.
Good job and best of luck.
You got a t-shirt to wear?
Way to go.
You can work on that.
T-shirt. Great job, Coach. Proud.
I think your mother wants to get a shot of you over there.
I'm not too obvious, right?
It's all good. It's all good.
It's great. Proud moment.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
You're
I
very
hope he's
proud.
mine.
By Dr. Trump.
Go get a picture.
Picture, Dr. Trump.
Oh, sure.
This is great.
I'd like to once again thank all of the families for all the support and for bringing your children here this evening. And I'll just ask for one more round of applause for our students and anyone that would like to join us in the picture, please join me in the front.
They're coming. They're coming. You're more important, not us.
Yeah, come on up. Beat a hand. I'm far from it. Mark, Robin, you guys know that.
Are you joining us in the video?
Sure. You want to bring them up here?
Darren said over here was the best.
Shut those doors. Sign on the steps, because it's like risers.
That's a great idea, Darren. Well done. There's plenty of room. Plenty of room. Why don't you stand on the first, somebody on the first step? That's good, that works. Why don't some of you come up, probably on the third step? Come on over, young man. Everybody in? Get everybody in?
Come on in, everybody. It's important to recognize this. Fantastic.
Hey, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, you're too tall, you gotta stand on the ground. Congratulations, everybody.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you, parents. Thank you for your
Everybody did
support.
get well.
Appreciate it. Precious moments.
Make sure your cameras are break, okay?
If you need, any money to Photoshop my picture to make me look halfway decent, send it to President Lumi and send a request. He'll fix it. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Congratulations, everybody. Very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Strong.
Once again, congratulations to all the students. We're very proud of you. 4.01, public comment on agenda items. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to solicit public comment. Although the state law does not require us to hold public comment period, we have chosen to do so because we believe it's crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues. The board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a debate or dialogue. Please do not expect the board to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. We take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. Any questions from the public should be submitted through the use of public comment form, which can be obtained online or at the desk with the district clerk. We'll have the time, proper staff member to get back to you as appropriate. I also want to point out that under the state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to address any comments or questions about specific students or school personnel. We would ask you to go to the appropriate administrative channels. A total of 30 minutes at the beginning of each board meeting set aside to allow public comments on agenda items only. Public comment at the beginning of the meeting is limited only to the items on the agenda. Person who wishes to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting are asked to provide their names and a specific agenda item about which they wish to speak. A sign-up sheet is located at the desk of the district clerk. Individual comments on the agenda items is limited to 3 minutes and are welcomed. If you wish to address items relating to a school district that are not on tonight's agenda, another comment period is provided at the end of the meeting for that purpose. A second sign-up sheet is available for non-agenda items. In the interest of civility and respect for different points of view, clapping, booing, or any disturbance during either public comment period is not permitted. At this time, is there anyone who wants to sign up? No one. Okay. Seeing none. 4.02, communications and announcements received by the Board of Education. I guess you're the first one, Marie.
Because you know this is my favorite time. I would like to thank Fishkill Plains Elementary for letting me come in and do Mystery Reader. I have a bunch of beautiful pictures that the pre-kindergarten class made me before I got in, and I can honestly say that the handwriting for pre-kindergarten is phenomenal. Our teachers are doing great, and it was a lot of fun. It was some of the best parts of my job here, I guess. Also, we got to do the Italian National Honor Induction at John Jay High School. Pi Day celebration was a week late, and we missed Mr. Lumia terribly, but thank you, Ms. Kellen, for stepping in. This past Friday, obviously, one of the best productions, and we are not worthy of standing on this stage, was Willy Wonka right here at WAP Junior. The students are far better at being on this stage than any of us that are here tonight. Spring concerts and sports are starting back up, so Trustee Miggets and I will probably be out and about at everything, seeing if we can hit everything under the sun yet again. Maybe I'll get to stay home one night a week again.
Ms. Miggets.
Yes. Well, first, I'm in the middle of a very unusual opportunity right now through work, where I am spending a few weeks teaching DCC classes to students in a neighboring school district after many years outside of the high school classroom. And I just want to say it's giving me a renewed appreciation for what our teachers do
every day. I was able to join Trustee Johnson and Trustee Calland at Pi Day over at Van Wyck and had the privilege of presenting certificates to the students from Oak Grove who participated in Dr. Miller's program. I also was here to see Willy Wonka and was just amazed at what the children were able to do, and I highly applaud Ms. Mohammed on her production and Mrs. Daniels on the things that she did as producer to create the whole atmosphere here. And as Trustee Johnson said, sports are getting underway. I stopped by today in the rain and the wind at John Jay High School to watch the John Jay boys and girls track teams compete against Mahopic and Carmel. And I don't have the scores because it was still going on, but our athletes seem to be doing very well in this early competition.
Anyone else? Peggy?
Yes, as trustees Johnson and Miggins have already said, the Pi Day was a celebration, although delayed, was very impressive what the students are doing. And for parents in the audience who might have students, you should really consider the math program that that Dr. Miller runs. It's children were very enthusiastic. The Italian Honor Society was really good. We had a guitarist as entertainment, and the refreshments, as always, were exceptional. And also the Willy Wonka production here was very good, and their stage effects were remarkable for our junior high school.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? Turn off your mic.
Okay. What did you say?
How was it? I attended the college fair on Friday morning with Trustee Morgan was there, Trustee Sloshower. I seen some pictures of you. You too. I've seen pictures of everybody. Dr. Barker's in a few pictures. I received a few opportunities for some jobs. They were recruiting me, but it was a good time. A lot of opportunities for students. Yeah, definitely. My young look. Also, I attended the cops versus the staff at John Jay High School, which is very good. Very physical game. Very physical game. It's more like rugby.
Mr. Green was a coach, or was actually a referee.
Yeah,
I heard that he was fired after the game.
Yeah, it was very good. Very good game. And it had a good turnout, and I was also able to get to the Willy Wonka concert or play, and it was very good also. Every year, the lighting, the sound, everything was awesome. Thank you.
Mr. Morgan?
Thank you, President Lumia. The only thing that I was wanted to add to the mention of the college and career fair at John Jay was that one was held earlier in the year at Royce Ketchum. Both of them are organized by Ms. Elizabeth Keating, who does a great job with those, both in terms of involving the students as well as coordinating with the colleges and the potential employers. As a representative of Union College that I attended, we appreciated the opportunity to meet with our district students and look forward to, again, continuing to have attendees at Union College from both Royce Ketchum and John Jay High School, which has been the case for many, many years. So thank you to Ms. Keating. Great job.
Anyone else? Well, it looks like I'm almost the last one to say something, so we'll
Turn the mic on, Johnson.
turn the microphone on. Well, first of all, congratulate all the students in the spelling bee, in particular, 3 students who participated in the regional spelling bee. There are Noah Kaplan from Rinkelhoff, Datul Mustafa from the Sheaf Road, and Leon Van Steve from Fishkill Plains. Noah Kaplan, the champion, will advance as a considered script national bee championship in Washington State. So wish him well. I want to thank the Wappinger Rotary for recognizing 5 students from our district for their contribution to their school. They are Alma Gabriel from RCK, Tariq Riddick from Wappinger Junior High, Gianna Stevens from Evans, Alex Suarez Gutierrez from Myers Elementary, and Adam Boris from Chief Road. Thanks to all the teachers who recommend these students to the Rotary. I want to congratulate all the students at John Jay for being inducted as our descent into the Italian Honor Society. I also want to thank 2 particular families. Number 1, Mr. Zingone and his wife, who for the past 25 years have actually contributed a scholarship, a $500 scholarship to the students, to a particular student, as well as Mr. Pinaccia for providing 2 $500 scholarships for both the president and vice president of the society. The president of the particular society, if I may say, his name is Glenn Russell Miller, is the president, and the vice president, Chilla Kalkanye. So congratulations to those 2 students. I want to congratulate all the performers as well as the stagehands and the production of Willy Wonka and Wappinger Junior High. The performers were excellent. It's amazing how the actors can recite all their lines flawlessly. It was really enjoyable play. Thank you to the advisor who made this very possible. Lastly, I want to thank Dr. Urban Miller for working with 75 students from our 5 elementary schools. It's amazing that these students can do mathematics. They're phenomenal. What they can do is really, really incredible. I want to thank the parents for driving their child to school once a week, 1 hour prior to the start of school, so the students can work with Dr. Miller. I visited Dr. Miller's office, and I'll tell you, I wish I had him as a teacher. He is incredible with mathematics. So once again, thank Dr. Miller. And with that, the next is going to be, I made a report first. So the first one on the agenda is Co-Chair Mr. Schlosshauer and Mr. McFarland.
Thank you, Mr. Lumia. Just real quick for some updates. I think I had mentioned we had submitted plans for our phase 1 project for the next capital improvement project. We brought in a third-party review, which the state allows to accelerate. As I also had mentioned before, it takes New York State in upwards of 47 weeks to approve plans. Utilizing a third party helps expedite the process. We once again took that avenue. We received some comments back. Our architects are working on that. At this point, we're still on our timeline, looking to go out to bid end of May, beginning of June for our summer work. Also, our phase 2, which we're not waiting until next year to submit, our architects are working on. Just a quick update again for the Plan 2 designs. That includes a new HVA system at Van Wyck Junior High, the renovation of the Wappingers Junior High Transportation Office, the home and career classroom renovations here at Wappingers Junior High, also the art and ceramics classroom renovations at both high schools, John Jay and RCK. Also HVAC upgrades at Vassar Road and Chief Road Elementary Schools. And also a quick update from the town of East Fishkill, just to let the public know, April is coming and asphalt plants do reopen. So the plan is to try to get the top layer at the new drop-off done. The only downside is I'm not sure what the town's time frame is to work with the asphalt company. So there is a chance that that will not be completed until the summer. They don't want to interfere with the last several weeks of school. That's not our decision, that's their decision. But in any event, we do anticipate that being taken care of by the time school reopens in September. Another bit of good news, if no one has noticed, the dome project does not exist anymore. We've mentioned that before. There is a 500,000 square foot distribution and facilities warehouse that's being built. The town has received a partial grant in conjunction with the new owners of the site that they're developing. And we will have a sidewalk installed from the soccer field where students have additional parking, where they'll be able to walk all the way into the new drop-off. So nobody's going to be in the street, nobody's going to be up on the side of the road. So obviously from a safety standpoint, we're very happy that there'll be additional sidewalks installed on Route 52. Again, that project hopefully would be completed. I can't say their time frame is by September, but definitely before the year is out, that's the plan. I don't know if Mike had anything to add.
Thank you. Wellness, Chair Dainty.
Good evening, Board of Education. On March 29th, again, that was delayed a week as a result of the weather that we received. We had our third Wellness Committee meeting. The majority of that meeting was to discuss the surveys that are required from New York State, parent survey and a student survey, which we send to grades 7 through 12. I really want to give a shout out to this committee. They did a lot of work. These surveys have been completely overhauled. We are looking to get quality answers, so we're really sending another shout out to the community and to the students to please complete these surveys, because unless we get enough response and participation, we really can't take the data that we receive and make decisions and have good discussion about those. So again, just want to send out a great big thank you to the committee. Surveys are coming this week, and they'll be open for about 10 days, and then we'll start to review that data. We have one more meeting in May, and again, the committee they're just a great bunch of people, and they're wonderful to work with, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Dainty. Policy, Peggy?
The policy committee met on April 12th. We were also delayed because of weather. And we just made some revisions to the facilities policy. On the previous year, we set forth new regulations for renting the facilities, and these are mainly revisions from experience, and we hope improvements, and they're on the policy today. We are on the agenda for today. We also discussed the code of conduct and consistency across grade levels within the school, within the district, in different schools, and referred that to Mr. Lokema and the code of conduct committee. The attendance was Mr. Lokema representing the administration, a district clerk Alberta Pedro representing also the administration and taking notes for us, and board president John Lumia and trustees Marie Johnson, Keith Odoms, and myself.
That's the School Board Association, and Board President Peggy Kelly. Peggy?
Yes, that also met at the beginning of the month, and it was mainly an update on the state budget by a representative from the New York State School Boards Association, who gave us a presentation via Zoom and let us know what the state is of the legislative budget versus the governor's budget, which should be by law approved by the end of March. Frequently that is late, so we will not have definite information on how much money we will get. The difference between the governor's budget and the legislator's budget is that the legislature has money in there to provide free school lunches for everyone, at lunch and breakfast, and the governor did not include those in her budget, so there will be some reconciliation going on.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, all the chair people. Next for 5.01, Superintendent's Recommendation Budget. Dr. Bunk.
Okay. I forgot, he likes to walk around with them. I got you. Great.
Thank you, Director Shoughton. Before I begin the presentation, I want to reinforce the accolades that were given by our Board of Education to many of our students and staff for all of the positive differences that they've made within our community over the past couple of weeks. Those have been detailed by the Board of Education. I'm going to move forward with the recommended budget one. I think it's important to read the mission of our school district, which is to empower all of our students with the competencies and confidence to challenge themselves, pursue their passions, to realize their potential while growing as responsible members of their community. We must do that. That is our mission. So we talked about last year reconnecting with our community. This year, moving forward together. Members of the Board of Education, President John Lumia, Vice President Peggy Kelland, Trustee Marie Johnson, Trustee Keith Odoms, Trustee Michael McFarland, Trustee Eddie Sloshower, Trustee Cheryl Miggets, Trustee James Spencer, Trustee John Morgan, members of the senior staff administration, Darren Lokema, our Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Information Systems, Dr. Michelle Cardwell, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Kristen Dainty, the Financial Guru, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Business Development, Richard Zipp, our Assistant Superintendent for Student Support Services and Accessible Education, Renee Harris, our Director of Human Resources, Ronald Broas, our Director of Facilities and Operations, and our District Clerk and the Secretary to the Superintendent, Ms. Alberta Pedro. So some of this you've seen before, some of this is updated and will continue to be updated once we get our final budgetary numbers from New York State, which we hope will be no later than April 1st. However, there is a chance that that could be delayed. Hopefully, if it's not done by April 1st, it will be done shortly thereafter, and I will be able to give you a more expansive presentation on April 11th. Again, balancing the health wellness supports for our students and staff to continue to personalize the educational experience by ensuring that staffing levels and educational opportunities are available for all students during these most challenging times. Maintain our current educational program by supporting academic supports, academic enrichment opportunities, extracurricular activities, as well as professional development for staff. Again, the common theme, providing opportunities for all of our students to pursue their passions. So what do we know so far? Well, we may not like this number, but the consumer price index is 8%. We're all paying more for everything. Since the consumer price index exceeds 2%, the district will utilize 2% in the tax cap formula. And based upon the numbers for our school district, the maximum allowable tax levy increase to be under the tax cap is 2.05%. Currently, the district has balanced the budget using a tax levy increase of 1.67%. Note that has changed from the previous presentation of 1.85%, and I will explain why that has happened. So the budget, as it stands now, based on the money that we believe we're going to get now, will increase in a tax levy increase of 1.67%, which is 0.38 less than the allowable tax levy increase. And one of the reasons for that is I'm going to make a recommendation to the Board of Education that we utilize some of our fund balance. New York State Governor's proposal includes the reinstatement of the foundation aid. UPK funding remains stable in this proposal, and we are budgeting using the full governor's executive budget proposal at this point in time. Again, as I mentioned, April 11th, I'll have more updated information. How did we come up with this recommended budget? Connecting with our community, the mission and the core values of the district, senior staff discussion and goals, Board of Education values and goals, and community input. Budget at WCSDNY.org. Again, we value your input. If we're going to move forward together, we need to be working together throughout this budgetary process to craft this most important budget. Tax levy. I mentioned these numbers before. The tax levy increase is 1.67%. The budget increase from budget to budget is 7.86%. And again, the budget tax levy increase is below the tax cap, and the budget to budget increase is below the current consumer price index. So what does a 7.86 budget to budget increase mean to our taxpayers? Again, it's our responsibility to provide a budget that continues to support the programs and services that our students need and to be fiscally responsible to our taxpayers. So the tax levy increase, which is the good news, 1.67%. More good news. Since the district is proposed to receive increased aid under the budget and is also utilizing the fund balance, the budget to budget increase of 7.86% is not necessarily the responsibility of the taxpayers. So this year, you know that we have hired counselors, mental health professionals, nurses. We want to ensure that we have people there to work with our students who are suffering from the results of the pandemic. This year, I am proposing the K-8 Special Education Initiative. And what does that include? It includes that at 6 of our elementary schools, we currently have a shared kindergarten grade 1 special education teacher in each of them working in that situation. And I say situation nicely. It's not working, it needs to be fixed. So what we're going to do is we are going to add 6 elementary special education teachers, 1 for Vassar Road, 1 for Sheaf Road, 1 for Myers Corners, 1 for Fishkill Plains, 1 for Gayette, and 1 for Brincroft, which will help us to personalize the educational experience for each and every one of those students in the classroom. That is important now more than ever. Also, Wappingers Junior High School and Van Wyck Junior High School, they have a shared assistant director for special education. For 2 junior high schools, 2 large junior high schools, unacceptable, especially with the amount of students that we are seeing that need these essential services. Due to the volume of students and differentiated needs of the students, both Wappingers Junior High School and Van Wyck Junior High School will each have 1 dedicated assistant director of special education to provide for smaller caseloads, which again will enhance the ability to provide personalized educational services to our students. The caseloads were too high. This will bring these numbers down a bit and will allow the programs to be much more effective. So, how does this all look? Those additional 10 positions for the K-8 Special Education Initiative, which includes teachers, assistant directors, and support staff, I'm recommending that they be paid out of the fund balance, not by the taxpayer. We have an addition of 2 positions for our UPK program and a director of early childhood education. And based upon the amount of students that we now have in our UPK program, which is around over 300, we need to make sure that we have a nurse available for those individuals. Kind of important. So we're going to add that as well. We're also going to add 1 special education teacher at the elementary level. School security officers and monitors at John Jay High School to assist with the beautiful new drop-off at Patriot Way. We want to make sure that it continues to be safe, that it's utilized, and it continues to relieve the congestion that we have seen in the Route 52 corridor, especially at arrival and dismissal times. This one's important. Converting from contract service providers to WCSD service providers. So these services were subcontracted out with another agency at one point in time. We need these to be part and parcel of what we do on a daily basis with our employees. So when you look at this, we will now have 6 staff, which will include speech teachers, physical and occupational therapy staff. These are not new positions. We are shifting them from service providers to Wappinger Central School Service staff. Converting the public information officer from part-time to full-time. We need to ensure that we communicate with our community, and it has been very, very obvious that we need somebody there full-time as opposed to part-time to make sure we get the correct information out in a timely and an accurate manner. Converting 10 bus driver positions and 1 courier from part-time to full-time. The addition of 1 special education account clerk to assist with the increased reporting and expenditure processing in that department. New York State district level budget, building project work as needed. Continued funding for junior high welding rooms. Again, we've talked about the importance of technical education, and we are committed to that here in Wappingers to the extent that we're able to. So if we take a look at this graph, and you've seen this before, and you look at 17-18 through this year, I mentioned this last year, you saw last year that we came in under the cap for the first time since the inception of the tax cap 12 years ago. This year, we're going to do the same thing. 2.05, we're coming in at 1.67. Where does our revenue come from? 64% comes from the proposed tax levy, 64.85. 32.53 proposed New York State aid. 1.31 fund balance taxpayers. Fund balance K-8 special education initiative, 0.42, and other revenue, 0.89. Ms. Crandall.
Sure, can I add just one interesting thing about this pie chart?
You can add as much as you like.
Sure. As a result of the increased foundation aid that we'll be receiving from New York State, you'll see that that amount percentage there is 32.53. In prior years, it averages around 24%. So that means that shift in the proposed levy used to be 72%. So now the levy is showing a reduced reliance on the taxpayer and an increased reliance on the state aid that has been reinstated for the 23-24 year.
And I think that's important to note, and I need to thank all of our state legislators now more than ever for going to bat for education, going to bat for kids, and going to bat for schools. We have noticed over the last couple of years that the state aid has increased, which obviously means that the tax levy for our taxpayers has decreased. Where do we expend money? Well, we are a people business. We work with people. We have 10,300 students, and we have another 1,800 staff. 49.71% of our budget is spent on salaries, 33.71 benefits, 6.60 spent on BOCES programs, which are extremely important, and we value our partnership with Dutchess BOCES. Contractual 8.31, supplies 1.59, textbooks 0.03, equipment, and that's an important number to look at. Look how much we spend on equipment. It's a misnomer that some people think we spend an exorbitant amount of our budget on equipment. 0.05%. Again, financially responsible and providing the services necessary and programs for our students. Expenses by category, 52.67 instruction, 33.40 was undistributed, and as I always will ask Ms. Crandall, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So as Dr. Bonkin indicated, we are the people business, and we are in the business of providing instruction. So 52.6%, over half of our budget is allocated to that specific purpose. The undistributed portion of that budget of 33.4, that includes all the benefits related to our staff, whether they are in a union bargaining agreement or under individual contract. In addition to that, we have to pay on our long-term debt. So included in that undistributed number, added to those benefits, is that long-term debt that we pay for the capital projects in the past and our bus purchases.
So thank you, Ms. Crandall. And I think it's important, again, and I stated this last year, well, 7.93 general support. We spend 6% of our budget on transportation, which is available to every student if they wish to take district transportation. That's extremely important. If my math is correct off the top of my head, that comes out to close to about $16.5 million that we spend on our transportation department, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think that shows the investment that we have in our transportation department and in our employees. And we want to see it stay that way because we realize how important it is. As you do know, we are the largest district-owned transportation. We have the largest district-owned transportation department in New York State. The 8 districts that are larger than us, they subcontract with another service provider. Our community has been very, very vocal, and we are in agreement with our community that we want Wappingers personnel picking up Wappinger students and taking them to school and transporting them home. That will continue. So what to expect next? Questions, comments, feedback, budget, WCSDNY.org. Presentations and reports are posted to the Board of Ed section of the website. Frequently asked questions posted to website within 2 business days. Educational updates are sent to the learning community when necessary. The Legislative Action Committee board-approved goal for continued advocacy, not to lose any New York State funding. And as I thanked our local state officials, I also need to thank our Legislative Action Committee and the board members and the community members that serve on that for, again, fighting for kids and fighting for schools. Community and municipality presentations to share the budget and continue the course to maintain a safe learning environment for all of our students and staff. As I mentioned, the next presentation, and again, these started back in November, on the 11th, I fully expect that there will be a state aid update and there will be a recommended budget that I will present to the board for recommendation based upon the final numbers that we get. On the 17th, there'll be a budget adoption. Then on May 2nd, community presentation. And then we have the community forum, the state mandated public hearing on the budget, and the budget vote is May 16th. So again, I want to thank our entire community for sending in their thoughts and their suggestions in regards to the budget and what you as members of our community believe that the students in our community need and deserve. We want to thank you for that. And again, we look forward to moving forward together. And with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Shapiro.
Are there any questions on the board member? Eddie?
Ms. Dainty, just a quick question. Our contributions to the state for Medicaid, has that significantly increased at all?
Medicare?
Medicare, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Medicare,
So
I'm sorry. Medicare contribution.
Sure. So we do have 2 responsibilities. We have the standard payroll deduction, and then we also, which has not changed. But then we also have a reimbursement that we do provide to our retirees. And that number is included in our health insurance budget lines. Those numbers have climbed significantly for multiple reasons. Number one, the rate has increased, the reimbursement rate that we're required to. We have retirees who are living longer and living larger, so that's great. And that adds to our costs. So we pay those semi-annually, and those have significantly increased over the past few years. We do see a slowdown on that rate increase for next year. Remember that next year means December of 2023. However, the numbers are still exponentially growing, so that we make these reimbursement payments too. And we had a very interesting thing, just to go on a side note. We have been reconciling outstanding checks, and we noticed that we had quite a few outstanding checks of these Medicare reimbursements, excuse me. I did the same thing. So we found out actually that there was a couple of past employees, rest their souls, who had passed, but their families never notified us. So we continue to pay health insurance, we continue to make these Medicare reimbursements, and thankfully, through Dutchess Educational Health Insurance Consortium and working with the families, we were able to recoup funds that we had paid for deceased past members of our district.
Thank you for that clarification.
Cheryl?
I just want to make a comment. Even without my having spoken to you, I want to thank you for accomplishing two things that I was going to ask you to do. One is, as a longtime advocate for special education, I'm thrilled that we are going to have full-time special educators in our primary grades. And also, thinking about the taxpayers in this climate, I'm glad to see that you were able to shave a little bit off of what is going to be the tax levy going public.
John?
Thank you, President Lumia. And just to echo what Trustee Miggets just said, so over the course of the past month, based on an increase in state aid, the budget-to-budget increased by approximately $870,000. But the levy-to-levy, what will come out of property taxes, only increased just shy of $300,000. So thank you for that. And if we should be so fortunate as to receive more aid than is currently budgeted or anticipated to be budgeted, I for one would like to see that levy shaved yet further as a percentage wherever possible. And thank you for that and for the work that Assistant Superintendent Dainty's put into this with you, Dr. Bach.
Thank you. Peggy?
Yes, thank you for keeping the tax levy increase down to the minimum. And considering the consumer price index is 8%, taxpayers have to face inflation whenever you go to the grocery store, you're shocked at the prices, and utility bills are up and so on. So this is a way of easing the burden on them. Thank you. I had a question about the K1 special ed. You listed 6 elementary schools. What is being done at the other elementary schools that have K1?
I'm going to bring up Mr. Zip.
Thank you, Mrs. Kellen. Yeah, we're adding another self-contained class at Fishkill Plains. Then realized last year we added 2 teachers at Kinry for the self-contained language-based class. So that was built last year.
No. What's happening now at the 4 schools where we do have teachers? That's what she said.
Gotcha. So are you talking about the 6 teachers being brought in and having the kindergarten first grade class? So each class is going to have a devoted special education teacher. So currently in that model, there's a teacher that floats between the 2 grades and a teacher assistant that also supports. But moving forward, each class is going to have its own special education teacher.
The other 3 schools, the other 3 schools that have K1.
How does that look right now? The current K, you already have the initiative at the other 3 schools.
The other 3 schools don't have the initiative. They're just self-contained programs.
Correct.
So that's why I was a little confused in what you were asking.
Yeah.
So
Those programs are not offered at those schools currently.
So
I say currently. Sure.
Gotcha. Sorry, Peggy. I'm trying to get the question straight.
Marie?
Basically, to finish out that, those are ICT classes. So in the K1, it's a kindergarten class or a first grade class, and they're sharing that one special ed teacher for the day. And this way they would each have one. So that's where that happens. So it's not actually a self-contained, it's an ICT class that they're getting.
Yes, I was aware of that, but I thought the community should have an explanation as to why that is done at 6 schools rather than at all of them.
First of all, thank you to Superintendent Christian for a presentation. And I too would like to commend the superintendent for putting those special ed teachers, K-1, it's a long time coming. Sharing special ed teachers to the two classes to be unacceptable. So I'm glad the superintendent took the initiative to put those particular teachers in those positions. So thank you.
If I can just say, the reason that I'm able to do that is due to the support of this Board of Education and the fact that we have a fund balance that is in excess of what the state controller says we should have in it. Well, because of our budgeting and the planning that we've done over the past 3 years, we now have those monies to be able to do these types of things. And you can expect to see more of this with the fund balance, which is monies that are at the discretion of the Board of Education and the school district based on what we're hearing from our staff and the community that we need. If that fund balance wasn't there and we followed the suggested spending model from the state controller, to add those positions back would go in the general budget and would be the responsibility of the taxpayers. So I just wanted to explain publicly, I know I've spoken about this once before, the fact that our fund balance is where it is, I think speaks to the planning and the work that has been done to ensure that when we find programs that we need, as we evaluate these programs over a period of time and find that they can be more effective, we have the resources to be able to put into them to fix them. So I just wanted to make that statement. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Seeing none, 6.01, consent agenda resolution. Does anybody want to pull any item from the agenda? Seeing none.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated. 6.02, 6.03 with addendum, 6.04, 6.05, 6.06, 6.07, 6.08, 6.09, 6.10, 6.11, 6.12, and 6.13.
Motion, Jimmy, second, Peggy. All those in favor? Unanimous. 7.01, approval legal notice for May 2023 budget vote and board members election. Peggy.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the legal notice for the May 16th, 2023 budget vote and board member election as stated.
Motion. Marie, second, Cheryl. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. 7.02, approval of transfer agreement, Brinkoff logo.
Whereas the Board of Education has reviewed the proposed transfer agreement for a logo designed for Brinkerhoff Elementary School and finds its terms acceptable to the school district. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the transfer agreement authorizing the transfer of all intellectual property rights of the Brinkerhoff logo to the Wappinger Central School District, and further authorizes the board president to execute the attached transfer agreement on behalf of the Board of Education. Be it further resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the new Brinkerhoff logo and does hereby waive the first reading and adopts the revision to Exhibit 5260E1, official marks effective March 28th, 2023, as requested by Principal Dominique Cooper.
Motion. Cheryl, second, Marie. Discussion? Eddie?
I just had one little question on the logo itself that was obviously created by an outside entity, a parent or a community member that is asking us and is willing to transfer their intellectual property over to us. It looks a little bit like the Denver Broncos from the National Football League. I was just concerned if that may or may not be an issue utilizing the similarity of it, whether that person actually created it themselves or used a little bit of the imagery from the Denver Broncos. So I don't know if that's an issue or not. I don't know how that was looked at. I just don't want anything to, if we're accepting imagery that, I don't know if it's copyright protected from the Denver Broncos or not, or that individual actually created it themselves or not. It just looks a little
Since you
familiar.
raised that issue, perhaps we just will wait until it's on next.
I'm not trying to,
I think you have a valid point.
if everyone has had a chance to look at it and then look at what the Denver Bronco logo is, I'd just like to get clarity that we're not accepting something that may already have some copyright.
Mr. Lokima, you've been involved in this. Would you be able to speak to this issue? Thank you.
It is my belief that it is a unique work of art,
Okay.
and it is different than the Denver Broncos logo.
Okay. All right, thank you. I just wanted to get a clarification because it caught my eye.
I agree as well. I mean, if you're drawing a horse, if three of us draw a Bronco, there is gonna be some similarity to it. It's not an exact likeness.
No.
In any case, all those in favor, raise your hands. Unanimous. 7.03, second reading, adoption policies.
Resolved that the Board of Education of the Wappinger Central School District hereby approves the second reading of and adopts the following policies based upon the first reading by the board and the recommendation of the Policy Committee effective July 1st, 2023.
Motion, Peggy, second. Marie, discussion?
I would just like to mention that some changes were made after the first reading at the Policy Committee as stated in my report.
I just want to point out that we did put that this, normally when we do a second reading on a policy, it's effective the next day. This one is effective July 1st. There's a lot of training that Ms. Pedro has to do with staff across the district to implement some of the changes. So the existing policy will still be in effect until June 30th at midnight. This will take effect July 1st, but then they'll also be given a copy of this much farther in advance so that they'll be able to have questions. But I wanted everyone to be aware that it's not until July 1st due to training.
John?
Clarifying question, Trustee Johnson. Is that for all 4 of the policies, or is that for 1500E? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pedro, for your hard work that you'll be doing. Thank you. 7.04, all in favor? Unanimous. 7.04, approval to retire policy 5100-E4.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby retire policy 1500E4, rules and regulations for community use of district facilities, as all items of this policy were incorporated into policy 1500R and 1500E3 after review by the school district's attorney and is recommended by the members of the policy committee effective July 1st, 2023.
Motion, Marie, second. Cheryl, discussion? John?
So just to be clear, in line with what I just asked, are we going to, so this change will also become effective July 1st to line up with the others? Thank you.
Just so you, so everyone is clear on it. Some of the changes that we're putting into place in the other policies that affect July 1st will then make these 2 null and void because it's double writing it, so they don't become as useful any longer. So therefore, instead of having it in 2 places, that's not needed. That's why.
All right, all those in favor? Unanimous. 8.01, board members may request additional agenda items, discussion in addition to the agenda. Seeing none, is anybody signed up for the comments?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Turn on.
It's on?
Karen Svoboda? She's here. To the microphone, please.
Sorry. Dear Wappinger School District Board members, my name is Karen Swoboda, and I have put my children through Wappinger School District from K through seniors in high school. Child abuse and attacks are on the rise. They are all around us. Last week in Hilton, New York, there was a bomb threat against schools over a book in their library. In Carmel last month, a group of students threatened to shoot other students because they were Black. Today in Nashville, children were again gunned down by someone while at school. At this very moment in Wappingers, students who are members of the Gay Straight Alliance at John Jay are being attacked online by adults in this community, and recently a death threat was made to their principal. I watched the video of this board's last board meeting, and I was happy to hear that we have so many wonderful clubs in our schools, including the Honor Society, the Chess Club, the GSA, and Praying Patriots. I've always been happy to have my children at a place where there is such an active student body. Today, somehow, I find myself standing before you asking that you state definitively and for the record that you support the Gay Straight Alliance Student Club at John Jay, and that you understand that the children in that high school club are neither pedophiles nor groomers of toddlers. I'm forced to do this because an online website run by former Assemblyman Kieran Lalore recently published a post stating that the GSA club had, during the school's winter carnival, decorated their booth with pride flags, insinuating this was somehow to encourage young children to change their gender. The message was absurd, but quickly reverberated online with absurd adult groups, specifically Orange and Dutchess County Moms for Liberty extremist organizations. The Facebook pages of these two groups shared identical posts applauding this article. I have spoken with several of you privately and appreciate your words of support. Tonight, I ask that you share this support with the other parents and children in this district. I appreciate that a handful of members of our community are making it difficult for you to take such a stand, but it is more difficult for parents in the district to send their children to a school where these children are under attacks by adults within the community. I'm asking you to do the right thing again today. Again, not to me privately, but vocally in front of the children and parents who need to hear it most. Show your support of all your students and stand in solidarity with your minority students and marginalized students, and state for the record that the students in the John Jay Gay Straight Alliance Club are what they are. Good people and great kids who should be praised for their excellent work in the Wappinger School District. I want to see if there is one of you among you who will speak in their defense tonight. Thank you.
Avi?
Hello, Wappinger Central School District. My name is
Speak louder, please.
I'm sorry. Hello, Wappinger Central School District. My name is Ava. I'm an 18-year-old high school senior. I live in the Wappinger School District. I'm a member of Students Defending Democracy. One of my siblings is in the Gay Straight Alliance Club. Moms for Liberty shared a post on social media that said the kids in that club are groomers. I would like the board to say out loud that you know that there are no students in this club that are groomers. I think it's sad that I have to ask this, but I hope you do it tonight. Thank you very much.
Rick, go on, please. Rick.
Mr. Lumi and board members.
There you go. You make myself tall.
I here's tonight to read a letter from Lisa Papanauti, Antonio, with an offer. My name is Lisa, and I'm a licensed medical health professional practicing in communities for over a decade. My work includes providing therapeutic services to youth who have experienced trauma. I'm writing to you as a clinician and community member in support of youth and their families to address the rhetoric of the large community members, specifically groups such as Moms for Liberty and former State Assemblyman Kieran Lalore. This group and individual is persistently targeting youth and educators by referring to the John Jay GSA Club members as predators and groomers, as well as spreading hate toward LGBTQ1A plus youth and their family members. This type of language and ideology not only increases the risk of mental health disorders, but also self-harm and suicide. This board has been asked with a huge burden at this moment to protect the children within school systems from overgrowing and increasingly aggressive bullying by adults. I would like to offer my services, again, this is Lisa popping up, to give a presentation to this board regarding grooming and the effects that such language has on our youth. My concern is that this will not stop at the children of gay parents or gay students, but will soon extend to bullying of students of color, students with disabilities, and students of differing religions. I offer my help to you in kind in an effort to support you during this difficult time. Thank you for the good work you're doing. My name and number will be sent to you over email so that we can possibly schedule a conversation privately regarding this important issue. Sincerely, Lisa Papantonio, MA, LCAT, ACRBC. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen Hawkins.
Good evening, board members. My name is Karen Hawkins, and I'm an educator and the parent of an LGBTQ plus student in our district. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. We moved here pretty recently, less than 2 years, and we know this district to be a warm and welcoming community. I've said this to you all before. We know this because school events like John Jay High School's Winter Carnival include all student groups that wish to participate. Groups like the Gay Straight Alliance, which is a support group for LGBTQ plus students and their allies. I appreciate that this group and others like it in our school district are included, right? Just like any other student group, like a sports team or an art club or an honor society. My family, my neighbors, and I recognize that in this increasingly divisive political climate, you as board members may be feeling pressure from some in our community to respond to issues that you may not feel prepared to discuss, such as the appropriateness of school groups that exist to support students who may be seen as different. I want to assure you that your community supports you in your efforts to maintain this district as a welcoming and inclusive educational community. As an educator, I know these pressures are real because I experience them as well, although I don't work in this district. And I want to encourage you to continue and to strengthen your commitment to serving all students in this district. If there is interest among your members in how to respond to such pressures, I would encourage you to reach out to your educators, administrators, and librarians who are on the front lines and helping all students to feel safe and heard in communicating with families. Community groups such as Defense of Democracy and the Dutchess County Pride Center, which are both local and community-based, are well equipped to provide talking points on the importance of inclusion and representation in local educational policy decisions. Thank you for your time and for your ongoing support of all of our children. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Adam Rubenstein.
Good evening. I'm Adam Rubenstein. I'm president and one of the co-founders of the Dutchess County Pride Center. I'm a physician of internal medicine and pediatrics in Wappingers Falls, and I'm the father of 2 LGBTQ plus children. As a representative of the Pride Center, I'd like to say that representation is important. Seeing others who are like you, living as their true selves, is not only needed, but is necessary. For those who say that young children are too impressionable, I would counter that with numerous examples and studies that show that even elementary school children are aware of their own feelings about themselves. No one can turn someone else gay or make them question their gender. These are internal processes that cannot be influenced externally. As a physician, I can cite many studies that show how lack of support for the LGBTQ plus children are harmful. Transgender teenagers have an up to 40% suicide attempt rate if they do not have support at home, fully 4 times higher than that of a cisgender heterosexual teen of the same age. In this time when state governments across this country are actively legislating against the LGBTQ plus community, these kids need the love and support of our schools, community, and most importantly, our families and neighbors. Make no mistake, using homophobic hate speech against these students is actively harming them. As a parent, I can't fathom how other parents or adults can accuse a child of being a groomer, which, let's face it, is a code word for predator and is hate speech. We're supposed to support these kids, not bully them, especially at a time when they are so vulnerable. Holding a rainbow flag does not influence sexuality or gender. The rainbow represents love and acceptance, something we should all be striving for. Thank you. I'd like to also say that the Pride Center is more than ready, willing, and able to come into your schools, do any kind of training for administrators, educators. We're already doing it in the Beacon City School District, and we're working on setting it up at the Dover District as well. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are happy to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Oberstein. Thank you for your comments for the GSA. Normally, after the second comment period, we adjourn the meeting. Tonight, I'll be an exception. There will always be individuals or groups that post false, misleading, and hateful statements regarding some group of students and what the Wappinger Central School stands for. These same individuals or groups, no matter how strongly one disagrees and finds their views abhorrent, will continue spreading negativity and hate towards some members of a student body because they are different from them. I would like to take a moment to remind everyone what we do as a district and who we do it for. Our responsibility to all students of our district in times we live in goes beyond academics. School systems are responsible to meet the educational, emotional, as well as social needs of all our students. These are important responsibilities for all of us, and there's no other choice but to ensure that we are serving all our students in any way we can. We must not allow a student race, religion, ethnicity, culture, place of origin, or economic status, or their identity to stand in the way of serving them. This is important in the classroom, and it's equally important doing extracurricular activities as they are part of the entire package in reaching the goals, ensuring that all our students have access to a free and appropriate education. It is important that we complete this task, that we do it in partnership with parents, guardians, family members, and the community. Only when we act together for the benefit of all our students, no matter their race, religion, ethnicity, culture, place of origin, or their identity, can we fulfill our mission statement, namely, to empower all our students with the competencies and confidence to challenge themselves to pursue their passion and realize their potential while growing as responsible members of our community. There's no one here on stage who thinks differently or does not support what I just stated. Anybody want to add to that? Any questions? Cheryl?
I do want to add something. Every meeting, people see us up here vocalizing our support for individual groups of students, whether we go to an honor society induction or a team sporting event. I would also like to reach out to the GSA and the Pride Club, and please extend invitations like other student organizations to those of us who are up here so that we have an opportunity to attend your events and support you publicly. Dr. Rubenstein is my child's doctor, and he and his wife have issued me an invitation to their pasta dinner coming up. I intend to be there. I also intend to be at the Pride Parade to support one of my students from this semester at Dutchess, and I would welcome attending any event sponsored by either the GSA or the Pride Club.
Any other comments? John?
Just point of information. Is the statement that you just read,
You want it on record.
is the point of information I have is the statement that you just read anything different than what has been expressed at the last two board meetings since and as a follow-up to the John Jay Winter Carnival, which is organized by the John Jay Student Government.
Absolutely. John, you've been the last two that board meetings, you specifically have spoken that particular issue, and so did our superintendent. So that's been vocalized before.
So this is not a change.
No.
It's just a more explicit acknowledgement.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Jim?
I'd just like to say that I'm proud of the GSA club and what they stand for. And as a recipient of the Loft Ally Award 2019, given to me by the Loft LGBTQ Center, White Plains, I stand with GSA. Thank you. And pride. Thank you.
Any other comments? Obviously, I'm sorry, go ahead, Peggy.
As a member of the American Association of University Women and several other organizations that are dedicated to acceptance of everyone and greater recognition and understanding of the diversity of people's identity, I certainly agree. I have attended a number of workshops and presentations on these subjects, and we continue. I think everyone on this board up here is in total support of all our students. We are thrilled to have so many diverse clubs and want to give them recognition if whenever they do something that would be appropriate for a superintendent spotlight or for us to come to your events. So thank you for what you do, and I will welcome any invitations as well.
Keith?
Thank you. And as Trustee Spencer said, I also support the club, and I think everyone on the stage supports the club. If you could recall, we unanimously approved the club. Unanimously approved the club. No questions, nothing. So I think we all support the club. I think you should feel comfortable with that, and know that we do support this club at all times. And again, if you have any opportunities to invite us to support the club where we could be present, we will gladly do so. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second, three, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you for all coming.